Hey, Sibme community, what is up? Hey, all. Hey, Cory, what you doing today?
I am just now getting my first cup of coffee in
Oh,
for the day. So my brain is just starting to kind of function at a normal pace. Nobody missed the bus today, which is always a good thing. So yeah, it's just my day's just getting started. How are you, Brian?
I'm cold. I am freezing out there. It is. We have this cold front coming through the upper. I guess the up the East Coast today this week, and I did not enjoy my morning commute. I had to turn my seat heaters on in my Jeep. I had to let it run for a little bit while because when I went outside at 35 degrees, I had to run back in the house. I couldn't take it. So, but anyways,
You sound
it's
like a Texan. I mean, that's
yeah.
how I respond to the cold here in the Midwest. The thing is,
Well,
I don't have to commute, so I get to work right by my fireplace. Later
well,
this year, I'll start turning that puppy on in the mornings to heat it up, so we'll have a nice crackling fireplace for our What's Up Wednesday show. So
well,
you do
well,
look
luckily,
warming up.
luckily, my new office space they serve me hot coffee when I get in here to help me kind of loosen up a little bit. So, cheers to the Rivers Club here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for taking me in out of the cold. I appreciate it.
Awesome. That's awesome. It's a cool backdrop. So I'm excited. Today, Brian, we have our featured guest. This time we're going internal. We're pulling somebody out from the Sibme workspace, and we've got Carlos Afanador. He is our chief operator. Carlos, I'm sorry, I just butchered that. I don't think I've ever said your last name. Um,
Carlos, I love you so much. Thanks.
We're gonna bring him in. He's over here laughing at how I just tried to say his last name. I was not prepared. I did not practice how to say your last name.
So I will say it, and I will say it in the easiest way for everyone to remember. I usually tell people, just imagine a fan and a door, and if you say them all together, Carlos, a fan, a door, and that way,
See?
and,
yeah.
So
and,
easy.
and a small thing. Carlos and I have been friends for gosh, it's like going like on 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And Carlos makes some of the best ceviche I have ever had. So if you're ever in Houston, you come to visit the Sydney office, bug Carlos to make some ceviche because
I
it is delicious.
I
I
don't know
forgot
about
that you
your
tried that.
I don't know about
Yep.
your ceviche, Carlos, but I have had your chorizo, and so my
Yep.
son and I are big fans. He made that for us when we were visiting Texas last year at Christmas time. So
I do like to cook, so if you get anybody out there is in town, just let me know, and
that's
I will
great.
feed you.
Yeah, Sydney
So
will feed you. Well, Carlos, you're our chief product officer, and you're here to talk to us a little bit about our dev process today and give us a few sneak peeks, yeah, of some things that are on the roadmap that we've got going on. Is that correct?
yes, definitely. So should we talk about the sneak peek items first, or did you want to talk about the way we bring in our clients in
Yeah.
terms of? So
Well,
let's talk about the. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'd really like to just start where the start of most all of our work goes, which is with
Yep.
our customers, right? So tell us a little bit about the role our customers play in our product development.
Yeah, so it's multifaceted. It really depends on the specific feature that we're looking at for building, for building next. But a lot of the times, what we choose is chosen well in advance to a certain degree. We usually meet once every 6 months for a bigger, hey, these are all the things that we have to do. And we have a very, very large list of things that we would like to do or that we are planning to do, but we have to decide what are the most important things that will happen within the next 6 months typically, and then we refine that planning. And within that planning, we take our clients into account, and we do that using surveys sometimes. A lot of the times, we also have an internal team that is in constant touch with our clients, so our clients are letting us know that way as well. We also are beginning to do a little bit more prototyping. We haven't extended this out to our clients yet fully, although with some of the features that we build, if it's very something that needs a lot of little detail to be correct for the clients, that we'll actually reach out and ask them to test some features in beta form so that we know that when it's deployed, they're getting exactly what they want. So we go through an entire process of documenting, what needs to get completed. We will share that at times with some of our clients so that they can validate what we are about to build. Again, this isn't for every feature and for every single bit of things that we do for our platform, but it does happen at times, and these are some of the ways. And we're looking to increase, our touch points with our clients for, a lot of the features that we're building. So in the near future, we're hoping to have, share these information even more with a broader set of people. Right now, it happens a little bit more casually, but I think we're going to be a little bit more proactive, possibly having even some prototypes that we'll be testing with some of our users. We already have some prototypes that we're starting to test internally and sharing with. I know we have at least one client that I'm about to share a clickable prototype with. So there's a lot of things happening. And if you're a client out there and you haven't seen any of these, again, it takes time to roll out, all of these things where we are more proactively reaching out. But we do have some clients also that are very vocal and will let us know we really need this, or we really want that. And it is true that the squeaky wheel gets the grease to a certain extent, because even though some of our clients can be vocal about wanting certain things, sometimes it just doesn't fit within the time frame that we have available for our next delivery of large items, or there might be other reasons why we can't do something, but we do try to accommodate all our clients' needs as much as possible.
Yeah, and I know that, working closely with our customer success team, we've got an ongoing wish list. We'll frequently talk at our strategy meetings with you, Carlos, about, hey, we did a kickoff meeting with so-and-so, and they asked if our platform does this. And I think that's a really useful feature. We've had that question before. Last year, we did a few focus groups, Carlos, with some of our higher ed, because we were revamping. We did a huge overhaul of our assessment huddles. So it's always exciting and as a former Sibme customer, right? So I was a customer before I was on this team. I always appreciated how this company listens to their customers and they try to make those changes, or we work really hard to say, well, the platform doesn't currently do that, but here's something that might work as a workaround if that works better for you at this time. So that's great. That's great. Brian, you're up with the next question.
So Carlos, obviously, some of the great process we have around collecting ideas from our customers and causing that to kind of drive some of our developments. What's some of the stuff we got cooking up in the development team?
Yeah, definitely. I can share a couple of items, and I've had this screen up, so you guys got a sneak peek of what I was going to talk about here. But so this is this is part of our process to get things completed or updated. So in this screen, we're showing our intranet, and this is part of the area where we develop, the different features. We iterate through variations of features or updates to features, and then we collaborate internally. And once they're ready, screens like this, which I'm about to walk you guys through, get shared with our internal development team, so they know every single piece of detail that has to happen for an update or a specific feature to be deployed. So that way they have a baseline of what it needs to look like, how it needs to work, and we're all in agreement on what the end goal for each of these are. So the first one that I'd like to share with you guys is publish workflow updates. So one of the things that we've heard from a lot of our clients, and we knew internally, was that the publish feature was something that is that doesn't work very intuitively. So we'd like to improve this in a couple of steps, and the next step I think will be a very nice jump for a lot of people that already use this in terms of its intuitiveness and its usefulness. So let's go ahead and walk through this one. And so I will bear with me as I zoom through some of these screens. But with these specifications, which we call them, which specify the details of what's going to be built, we have typically a screenshot and then the specifications themselves, which is the details of what is entailed in that screenshot. So I'm just going to informally walk you through each of these screenshots and their related specifications. So the first one is just an intro to what's in the document and how this is going to work. So it's just the publish workflow updates. So if we go to the next screen, there's some things that we've done that we currently do that that we've updated in the assessment huddle. And I won't go through this text specifically. I'll just talk about it ad lib here. So in the assessment huddles, we made updates last year, not last year, this last August/September. And a lot of people had told us, well, we really miss we had more huddle settings link over here when you were creating an assessment huddle specifically, and it was just a little blue link over here. So as you filled this out, people were kind of not catching that, and there's some important additional features that settings that are in there. These are the settings for the assessment huddle specifically. So people were telling us, our clients were letting us know, hey, that really doesn't work very well. We're missing that. So what we did for the assessment huddle was we created a button that's right next to what we're currently calling the done button. Actually, this button, I think, is it called the done button? Yeah, it's called the done button. More on that in just a little bit. So we only did that in the assessment huddle because that's what we were building at that time. So for the coaching huddle, where this publishing workflow exists, we're now going to have that moved over as well. So instead of having it over here, it's going to be in a place where you're more likely to see it. Also, instead of calling that button done, we're calling it save, because once you're here, you're actually saving that information by hitting that button. You're not just done, you're actually saving. So we're trying to clarify all the UI elements and making refinements. So this is part of that update to the publishing workflow. These are kind of additional things that we're doing on top of the core updates, which I'll talk about in just a moment. Also in this pop-up, previously this little button, actually, if you go live right now and create a coaching huddle, the button says save, and you really don't save it when you click that button. You're really only done with those settings, but you have to click save in the screen underneath. So we're changing the wording of those buttons, again, to make everything more logical, more consistent, and so it makes sense for our clients. And so it makes sense, for us also. When we looked at this after the fact, we were like, well, that doesn't quite make sense, because hitting the save button as it's currently named here doesn't really save it. So if you click currently the save button and then you decide to move away from the screen that's underneath, you actually haven't saved anything yet. So we're making those things clear, and this is part of the, of making those updates. We're also changing this from enable publish comment button. This is the last thing that we still have to clarify. We're not completely sure what we're going to name this, but maybe publish workflow or something like that, because enable is already implied by the switches themselves. So let's get into the feature itself. So today, when you enable this publishing comment workflow, as I'm calling it as of right now, it's called, I think, what is it called up here? It's called enable publish comment button is what it's called today. When you enable that for a coaching huddle that you create, what you're going to get is a publish button. Where is that? You get the publish button, but you don't get it immediately. You actually go to your coaching huddle, and there's no button there. The user actually has to click on this comment area here and then click add, and then the button appears. Additionally, it's hard to distinguish what comments below are published and unpublished. So what we're going to do and sorry for all the scrolling, but what we're going to do is once you enable it and you go to your coaching huddle, it's going to show up. It's going to show up gray, so it'll be disabled because there's nothing to publish at this time, but it's going to show up there. So it'll be easy to understand or know that it's enabled. You just don't have anything to publish yet. Once you enter a comment, you're going to have, a little message underneath the comment that says comment is not published. That way you'll know that individually which comment or comments are not published. Each one individually will have that sign. Then our users will be able to hit publish comments, and then any unpublished comments will become published. Let me see if I have an example of that. So here's an example of that. You've hit published. It becomes disabled because you just published them, and then that little sign goes away. So they just appear as normal because now they're published comments. And if we look at the messaging below, I won't go through all the messaging, but once you publish it, you'll get this message that says you have successfully published all comments associated with this video. So the last part to this update that you guys are going to get is once you hit publish, then even though it goes away, even though those have been published, you're still going to get this gray button, which means you're going to be able to enter new comments in here, click the add button, and again, this will become green. Currently, you only get one opportunity to do this, which is extremely confusing. You click the publish feedback, which is what it's called today. You click publish feedback, and then they get published without telling you which ones are or aren't published, and then the button goes away. So there was a lot of little gaps in the user experience and the UI here that we're trying to cover. The only downside is I don't know if we're going to be able to do the publish comments on a per coach basis. Today it publishes every coach's unpublished comments, yours and other coaches. We may still have to live with that a little longer. We may do that update where individual coaches can update their comments only, but we're not sure we can deliver that immediately. That's
Carlos,
the gist
if
of
I
this.
can interject a little bit to talk a little bit about this. So this is one of my favorite features, even in its kind of limited capacity at this time. I know you talked a little bit about you can have unpublished comments until you click that button, and then you're published. Everything is then synchronous. So what that means is a video can be shared with me in a coaching huddle. And my typical process is I like to watch the video at least twice. I do a first kind of like cold view where I'm making notes, and I love that if I have that publish comment button enabled, I can go in and make comments as I'm watching that video. I can put those timestamp comments, but the coachee, my client, does not see that comment yet because I haven't published them. So then I can go through and refine my comments, because usually I've got a lot to say on a video, and then I need to go through and change some more directive comments to more reflective comments, facilitate a little bit and prompt a little bit of reflection for the coachee. Some aren't closely tied to the goals, so I want to go ahead and delete those. And it allows me to make a bunch of comments and then refine those and check my feedback and make the best kind of feedback that I can for my coachee, all before they are able to see it. And then I click publish, and now it's all there, as opposed to them getting an email every time I make a comment. So I love that we are going to be, increasing the usability of this feature, and that you can, in the second time or third time you go in to that video, you'll have that publish comment button there again. So you'll be able to see unpublished and published. It's really helpful because Sibme is great at communicating. You get notifications for everything that happens related to you and the spaces you're involved with. But sometimes we over communicate, because every time you make a comment on a video, you get a notification. So if you have those enabled, so I think this will be really helpful. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of time frame, we still have to review with the dev team and have them, give us their estimate. But we're hoping this is done this fall/winter. So hopefully by the holidays this is completed, but we still have to review that and double check that to make sure. Now,
Awesome.
yeah, I do have another feature that I'm prepared to talk about. Do we have time to talk about video enhancements?
Well, I'm glad that you asked. We're kind of running long on this show, but could you just give us in a couple sentences just a sneak idea of what it is that we're working on?
So on the video enhancement side, without showing you guys any screens, because then it'll get all, I'll get all excited about it. But we're thinking of doing several updates to the video player playback itself. So one of the things would be, if you hit the fast forward button, maybe we would be able to smoothly fast forward your video as you have the fast forward button held. Another update would be time range, timestamp. So instead of having one point in time for your comments, you could actually, once your comment was made, you can hit the edit button and select the end time for your comment. So then the user would know exactly what time frame your comment pertains to, with a beginning and ending time. We have something that we haven't finalized the name for that we're thinking about as well, which is called comments autoplay. For the time being, we may change that name. With comments autoplay, you hit the play button when it's enabled, and then it would skip through all the extra parts of the video that aren't associated with one of your comments. So only your comments sections of the video would play through. If you have a time range, then it plays that with 10 seconds extra at the beginning and end. If you only have one single time, like you see here, and actually this shows a time range here, which snuck into my little demo here. But if you have only one single time, then you would get 10 seconds before this time and 10 seconds after that time. That's the gist of what we're trying to do for those video enhancements.
I love that. It's almost like a highlight reel kind of thing. Exactly. I might have a 20-minute video and it's just showing me the comments, those highlight pieces.
Exactly.
And I know a lot of the folks that I've recruited into Sibme, and then even myself will be using that feature a lot. So I'm so glad that's we thought and prioritized that. And I really appreciate everything you're doing, Carlos.
Yep.
At Sibme, we're so lucky to have you because we're putting out a very quality product, largely in part because of your attention to detail and, creating quality around system requirements. And then, because in details, they really do add up if you think about it. Details lead to big plays, and big plays win big games. And we're winning a lot of games around here in Sibme, around our development and product quality, and largely in part to you and your team's hard work. And I want to let you know that over the 5 years I've been here, we've seen a huge impact. And really appreciate all your help.
No problem, and there's more to come.
So yeah. I salute you, Carlos. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
One quick note on these features though. These are a little bit more experimental on the dev side right now. So hopefully they would come this fall, but we may extend that a little further. But we're looking into that, and we'll keep everyone posted.
Yay! Well, I'm excited, and I know we'll have some more members of the dev team coming in as guests to talk about their unique roles within the process. So exciting things. Your Gantt chart still scares me every time.
I almost shared that, but I didn't want to scare other people.
It is quite a long, extensive Gantt chart. So thanks again for joining us, Carlos. We'll see you again soon. See you in the office.
Thanks, guys.
See you around.
All right, Brian, we'll end with our shout outs for the week. So who do you have? Who do you have for shouting out?
So one of the programs that I helped join Sibme this summer, the Carolina TIP program down at University of South Carolina. Way to go. So this last benchmark we had at the beginning of November, you guys had about 100% engagement in your platform. Way to go. Keep it up. All those new teachers coming out of your program, all of your supervisors, all of your leadership down there in South Carolina. Way to go. Really proud of you guys. Keep up the good work. Who else do we got? Who's next, Cory?
Well, we got TFA Alabama, Teach for America Alabama, lots of great things. Their workspace analytics, which is that private self-reflection place where people can record with the Sibme app and it doesn't get immediately shared with everybody. You're able to take that video and kind of vet it, self-reflect with it. I deleted my first 8 videos I ever recorded 12 years ago, and I still delete videos from time to time before others can see it. And they've got great engagement. And we know that that self-reflection is the crux of everything we do, whether we're, ultimately ending in the coaching piece. So I'm excited about the use that all of their candidates are taking out of that workspace. And they're doing awesome things. They're an exciting group to work with for sure. All right.
I know the temperatures have been cooling down across the United States, but things are heating up in Alabama. I'm going to tell you what. So what is that the end of our list, or we got a couple more?
That's all we have for this week. Tune in next week for another episode of What's Up Wednesday. Stay warm.
Tune in next week and stay warmed, all of you. Oh my gosh, get your jackets out. Oh my gosh, where's my jacket at? I need a new jacket. All right, we'll see you. Bye.
See you later, Brian.